A new age has begun.
Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So, it is time for another review in my Marvel Cinematic Universe Infinity Saga review marathon series, and today I'm going to be reviewing what is, of course, the 11th installment overall in the franchise, and the second installment of the 4 Avengers movies in MCU. And this movie, of course, guys, is none other than 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron. So, now, how was this movie made then? So, this movie was announced in May 2012 after the successful release of The Avengers, the first movie, with the director Joss Whedon set to return as writer and director in August. He updated Ultron's origin for the film to include the MCU's Avengers team, which was probably a dumb move in my opinion, which I'll get to in bad qualities, and introduced the characters of Pietro and Wanda Maximoff, to whom, of course, Marvel shared the rights with 20th Century Fox. The casting began in June 2013 with re-signing Robert Downey Jr. Second unit filming began in February 2014 in South Africa, with principal photography taking place between March and August, primarily at Shepperton Studios in Surrey, England. Additional footage was filmed in Italy, South Korea, Bangladesh, the state of New York, and around England. With an estimated net production budget of $365 million, the film is one of the most expensive films ever made. The film premiered in Los Angeles on April 13, 2015, and was released in the United States on May 1st, 2015 as part of Phase 2 of the MCU. The film received generally positive reviews from critics and grossed over $1.4 billion worldwide, becoming the 4th highest grossing film of 2015 and the 5th highest grossing film of all time during its run. When it comes to what I think of this movie, so when I first saw this film, guys, I watched it on television late after 2015 because when this film came out, guys, I was very busy with school doing exams. I was busy revising for them and sitting the exams, so I didn't have time to watch any movies at the cinema, sadly, because I was so busy. So I waited later on when I was older, when this film finally came to television, and I gave it a watch, and in my opinion, guys, it's decent. That's what I'll say. You know, I think it's definitely weaker, in my opinion, than the first Avengers movie, but for what it is worth, even though I absolutely despise Joss Whedon and with a burning passion, I think he's one of the worst directors of all time nowadays, mainly because of his horrible treatment to the casting crew of Zack Snyder's Justice League movie on his horrendous reshoots of it. I will say that, in my opinion, this is his last good movie, in my opinion, before he, of course, became the absolute disgrace he is nowadays that we know of. So yeah, there is some things about it which I do think is good, but some things about it that I personally didn't like, and I'll especially get to when talking about Ultron himself, who's the main villain of this movie. So what is the movie about? So, in the film, the Avengers fight Ultron, who is played by a voice and motion capture by James Spader, an artificial intelligence created by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner, who plans to bring about world peace by causing human extinction. So on to what I think is good about this movie then. So I guess the cast do a good job as always, in my opinion, in this. So Robert Downey Jr. was once again great as Tony Stark, Iron Man, of course. As always, he continues to be a perfect casting for a role, and I wouldn't cast anyone other than him as Iron Man in live action at all. And I'm so glad this film ignored the stupid movie that is Iron Man 3, in my opinion. It's ignored the stupid ending where he blew up all his suits, because he comes back in this with loads of new suits and gadgets. So I'm glad that he continues to be Iron Man in this movie, despite, of course, that contradicts the ending of the third Iron Man movie, which I think was just dumb. And I also loved the return as well of Chris Hemsworth as Thor, the God of Thunder, and he continues to play Thor really well, and I think Thor was handled much better in this than he was in Thor Dark World, in my opinion. I think this was a better film before, in my opinion. And Chris Hemsworth continued to play Thor so well, and always will be my favourite role of his. And also, when it comes as well to Hulk in this movie, and of course Bruce Banner, this is one of the two films, alongside the first Avengers film, in which I do personally like Mark Ruffalo as Hulk and Bruce Banner. I think this was one of the last times he actually played Hulk how he should be portrayed, and Hulk was actually the serious character he is and not the joke he is nowadays, thankfully. So that was good. And I think he was good in this, he was given, in my opinion, and thankfully it wasn't a joke. And also as well, when it comes to Captain America as well, while I also, of course, lost respect for Chris Evans in real life, and I hate him as a person, I will say that for what it is worth, in my opinion, and Steve Rogers as a character is more likeable than him in this, thankfully, in my opinion. And I definitely once again love the return of Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow as well. She was once again great in this, and for what it is also worth, the film also did a very good job working around Scarlett Johansson being pregnant when making this movie as well. So they did a really great job with our CGI and the stunt doubles. They did a really great job. I wasn't able to tell really because they did such a great job with it. And yeah, Scarlett can play Black Widow so well in these movies, and this was definitely no exception in my opinion. And I definitely as well especially love Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye in this, and I think Hawkeye was probably, in my opinion, the best character in this movie because compared to the first Avengers film, in which, of course, he spends the first half under mind control of Loki, I love how this film gave him a great personality and made him really likeable. And I love how we got to know more about him, where we got introduced to his family on the farm as well. And it was also pretty cool how he was the only member of the team to not get mind controlled by Wanda, of course, in the scene in South Africa, because he's able to stun her with one of his arrows, and he says he's not a fan of a mind control thing. And that I think was actually a reference, I believe, to Jeremy Renner himself not liking how Hawkeye was mind controlled by Loki in the first movie. So yeah, I think it was a pretty good joke actually. And I also like the return as well of Don Cheadle as War Machine as well in this, and he was also good. But in this, what he was given. I'm also as well glad that he wore the War Machine armor and not Iron Page armor. To be honest, I'm glad he went back to that mantle as well in this. And I also as well love the return of Paul Bettany as a voice of Jarvis in this. And Jarvis will always be my favorite role of Paul, and he of course would later go on to play the Vision in this as well. But there is, however, a bad quality. I don't with Vision, which I'll get to in the bad quality of his film though, or later on. But I think Paul played Vision and well, though, or in my opinion, what he was given. But personally, though, I do prefer Vision more in Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. In my opinion, the greatest animated Marvel show of all time. And also as well, now when it comes as well to other returning characters, Samuel L. Jackson also comes back as Nick Fury, the former director of S.H.I.E.L.D., who is now, of course, in hiding, going against Hydra, and he plays the part really well in this, although I kind of feel that Fury deserved more screen time in this, in my opinion. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson even said that he felt his role in this was like a cameo because he said that he didn't really get to do much, sadly, and I can see why, because Nick Fury, in my opinion, was underused, which was a shame, and really downplayed. And I did also, as well, for what it is worth, like Kobe Small returning as Maria Hill, but I do feel that she also didn't really get to do much either in this, which was a shame. But it was cool how she was working with Tony though, and I also like the appearance as well of Anthony Mackie once again returning as Falcon. But I personally felt that Falcon didn't really get to do much in this, sadly, which was a big shame because of how much I liked him in the Winter Soldier. It's a shame that in this he was so underused, which was a shame. And also as well, when it comes as well to other returning faces, we also got an appearance as well by Stellan Skarsgård returning as Eric Selvig as well, and it was pretty cool that he came back for this, and he played his part really well once again with the scenes he had. Although my favourite role, of course, of Stellan Skarsgård, of course, is Bruce Willis returning in Pirates of the Caribbean. And when it comes as well to the new characters in this, of course, the film introduces, of course, the twins Pietro and Wanda Maximoff, who are, of course, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, of course, from the comics, played in this by Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen. And I think they both play their parts very well with what we're given, in my opinion. And of course, Wanda will always be my favourite role of Elizabeth Olsen. I think she did a really great job playing Wanda. And Aaron Taylor Johnson was good as well. He was given as Quicksilver, in my opinion, but personally, I do prefer him as Kick-Ass. That's my favourite role of his, and my favourite Quicksilver of all time always will be Evan Peters from the X-Men movies. But I think Aaron was good in this, what he was given. And also as well, now, when it comes to other new faces in this, we even as well got a small appearance as well from Andy Serkis as Ulysses Claw, who is the South African black market arms dealer, smuggler and gangster. And I think he played it very well in this, but I feel that he was unfortunately quite underused in my opinion, didn't really get to do much, sadly, which was a shame. I think Andy Serkis even said he felt his role was like a cameo as well, sadly. And of course, as well, the film's villain, of course, is Ultron himself, who, of course, is played via voice and motion capture by James Spader. And in my opinion, James Spader had good voice acting, in my opinion, what he was given. But personally, though, I think Ultron is handled much better than other things than this, and we'll get to our bad qualities. And my favourite Ultron of all time, guys, always will be Tom Kane. Tom Kane, in my opinion, is the best Ultron of all time, in my opinion. And also as well, aside from, of course, the cast doing the best in this movie, I think the action is also, for what it is worth, good to watch as well, in my opinion. And I think it was done very well. And I like how the film kicks off with immediate action, of course, with of course, the Avengers raiding the Hydra facility in the fictional country of Sokovia. And we, of course, got to see Baron Strucker returning as well, one played by Thomas Kretschmann, but I feel that, unfortunately, Strucker was wasted in this movie, and it's a big shame because I believe Thomas Kretschmann signed on for, like, a multi-picture deal, so I was thinking he'd probably appear more. But sadly, of course, after he gets defeated by the Avengers, he then gets killed in his own cell by Ultron, so I feel that he was unfortunately wasted in this, and yeah, it's a shame that he didn't appear ever again, isn't it, really, because, I mean, Thomas Kretschmann's a good actor, guys. My favourite role of his is Eli Damascus in Blade 2, but I feel that in this he was underused. And also as well, there's lots of other good action scenes too as well, such as, of course, the Avengers Tower party being interrupted by Ultron, and of course as well, and of course his robot drones, who he of course uses with the Iron Legion, and because he takes all of them, of course, when he first gets activated, and of course as well, the fight scene as well in Johannesburg is also good too as well, and of course as well, I definitely like how his film also introduced the Hulkbuster armor as well. That was actually pretty cool. I did like the addition of that, and also as well, I like the fight scene as well in South Korea as well. That was also really good too, and the final fight in Sokovia, for what it is worth, is also good too, in my opinion. There's lots of action in this, which I guess is good, so I did like that. And also as well, when it comes to this movie as well, the music composed by Brian Tyler and Danny Elfman is also good, in my opinion, as well. And I like how they actually used the same theme by Alan Silverstream in this movie, which I did really appreciate them doing, because that, in my opinion, is the best theme for the Avengers of all time, and I'm so glad they included it in this, of course. And it was good music, in my opinion. And I think Ultron's musical theme was also good too, in my opinion, for what it was also worth. And I do like how, as well, in this film, they made Ultron into, like, a darker version of Pinocchio. So that's actually a very good idea, in my opinion. It kind of works pretty well, to be honest. And, of course, he quotes the song, "There Are No Strings on Me," so, yeah. Pretty cool parallel right there. And also, as well, what was also great, as well, is, what it is also worth, the film also has an importance because it introduces us to the concept more of Infinity Stones. We finally get, you know, the mentioning of the name thanks to Thor discovering what they are. And it's revealed, of course, that the inside Loki's scepter is the Mind Stone. So we get, of course, exposed to that, which is good. And then, of course, the Mind Stone then gets put onto Vision, which, of course, brings him to life. So it was pretty cool how his film gave us the concept of Infinity Stones, which was good. It's very important for this whole saga, of course. And also as well, when it comes to a movie as well, the film also has some pretty good cameos too in this. I mean, aside from the cameos I mentioned, which you could probably consider to be cameos such as Nick Fury and Ulysses Claw, because they barely appear in the movie, I definitely love how his film got a pretty funny cameo appearance by Stan Lee, may rest in peace, where he appears as a military veteran at Tony Stark's party at Avengers Tower, and he says that he wants to try, of course, the alcoholic drink from Asgard, and then, of course, when he drinks it, of course, he gets really drunk, and then he of course, says his famous catchphrase, which is, "Excelsior." Rest in peace, Stan Lee. Thank you for everything you've done for Marvel. Thank you for co-creating all of these iconic characters and inspiring billions of people around the world. Thank you, Stan. You're an absolute legend. Rest in peace. And so, aside from, of course, also good cameos too, we're going to choose to another AI for Tony, of course, which is Friday, who is voiced by Kerry Condon. I think she did a very good job playing Friday in this, and did a very good job. And when it comes to other cameos too, the film also has a pretty exciting ending, of course, which further helps set up the rest of his saga as being the Infinity Saga, where at the end of the movie, we see Thanos, once again played by Josh Brolin, reprising his role from Guardians of the Galaxy, putting on a gauntlet, and he says he's going to get the stones by saying, "Fine, I'll do it myself." So that's pretty cool. How of course he appeared about setting up him hunting the Infinity Stones. And so for what it's worth, guys, the film is pretty decent in my opinion. Like I said, in my opinion, it's Joss Whedon's last good movie in my opinion. And there's also other good cameos too as well, such as from Idris Elba appearing as Heimdall, which was foreshadowing more to come, of course, for Asgard, which would of course be seen later on in Thor Ragnarok. And also, we also got an appearance as well by Hayley Atwell as Peggy Carter, appearing as well in the Vision 2, which was pretty cool. So, and when it comes to this film, well, however, why I do think it's the weakest Avengers movie is what we're going to get to now. So, here are the bad qualities. So, with regards to Ultron in this film, guys, while I thought James Spader's voice acting was good, in my opinion, I personally feel that Ultron was very unfaithful to the comics because in the comics, guys, he was created by Hank Pym, not Tony. So, I was very disappointed that they decided to change Ultron like that, and it didn't really work for me, to be honest. And I also personally didn't like how he literally had the exact same personality as Tony as well. Like, because if I didn't know James Spader was playing Ultron, I'd have probably assumed that Robert Downey Jr. was voicing Ultron because he had such a similar personality, but yeah, it's James Spader, and I feel that he would have done a lot better if he had better direction to work with. My favourite role of James Spader is probably Daniel Jackson in Stargate so far, and I do feel that he could have done a better direction as Ultron, in my opinion. Like, the way Ultron was acting like Tony, it just threw me off, really, because that's not Ultron at all. You can see why I prefer Tom Kane far more, because Tom Kane, in my opinion, was far more intimidating and scarier as Ultron, in my opinion, and was way more robotic as well, like how Ultron should be. And also as well, when it comes as well to Quicksilver in this, guys, like I said, I did enjoy Aaron Taylor-Johnson's performance as him, but I personally, however, didn't like how he ended up getting killed, which was a shame, and I was disappointed that he got killed off, like, because it's a shame, because Aaron Taylor-Johnson, of course, like Thomas Kretschmann, signed on to appear in multiple movies, so I was hoping he'd appear after this, but sadly not. He got killed off, which was a massive shame. And it's also a shocking coincidence, but of course, his first and last lines in this, of course, are, "You didn't see that coming," which he asked to Hawkeye both times. So yeah, it's a shame he got killed off, isn't it? I didn't see that coming at all. What a shame. And so I think, you know, the way it portrayed Ultron, and also, of course, how Quicksilver was wasted, and so was Thomas Kretschmann as Baron Strucker as well, was disappointing, in my opinion. And yeah, I personally didn't like that. And also, when it comes to Vision, they kind of as well made his fate pretty predictable if you're familiar with the Infinity Stone storyline from the comics, because he's got a Mind Stone put into him, it's going to be unfortunately obvious if you read the comics that Thanos is going to want that stone, and you'll probably end up killing Vision for it, of course. And you can probably guess, of course, where that would lead, of course, in the next Avengers movie. So yeah, this film unfortunately predicted that, which was a massive shame. Also, as well, when it comes to other things, you know how I said this film has some pretty good cameos. Unfortunately, there was one cameo in this which I was let down by getting cut out, which was Loki, because it was reported before this film came out that Loki was going to be appearing in a cameo appearance, play once again by Tom Hiddleston, but unfortunately, they cut the scene, so I don't understand why they did that. Like, you promised us Loki's going to appear, but he's not going to be there. That's ridiculous. So I feel that he was wasted. You know, Tom Hiddleston, like, why bother filming a camera appearance if you're going to get cut out? Yeah, ridiculous. What an absolute waste. And also as well, apparently in this film, guys, Black Widow and Bruce Banner are in a relationship, but to be honest, I didn't even see that. Like, it was just so bland. I couldn't even tell they were in a relationship at all. So, yeah, that was just really weird, to be honest. Like, they could have executed a lot better, in my opinion, but unfortunately, they didn't do that. So, yeah, that's why it's so far my least favourite Avengers movie of all time. And probably will stick to that, of course, as well, because I'm no longer watching the MCU. I stopped after Spider-Man No Way Home. And so, in my opinion, guys, while it's decently good, in my opinion, I think it's probably the weakest Avengers movie, and it's quite disappointing compared to the others, in my opinion. So, because of those bad qualities that I mentioned. So, yeah. Thankfully, of course, we did have a slightly better film after this, of course, which was Ant-Man, which helps wrap up Phase 2 and set up the next phase. So, yeah, I'll be looking forward to talking about that, because I think that's an underrated movie. So yeah, when it comes to Age of Ultron, guys, I think it's just decently good at best, in my opinion, because of those bad qualities I mentioned, such as, of course, the characterization of Ultron, wasting Quicksilver and Baron Strucker, and also, as well, underusing people like Nick Fury, and also, as well, Ulysses Claw, and even, as well, Falcon and War Machine, as well, in my opinion, were quite underused, too, as well. And also, of course, as well, you know, the whole making Vision's fate predictable, as well, so, but nonetheless, though, it's decently good, in my opinion, and if I also give it a score out of 10, guys, then to this day, because I think it's decently good, I'll probably give it a very solid score of 7 out of 10. That's what I give it, because it's a decent film, and for what it is also worth, I do appreciate it after, of course, what's happened to MCU nowadays, but I do think it's unfortunately one of the weaker ones, in my opinion, but still, in my opinion, the last good film we're ever going to get from Joss Whedon, because he's an absolute disgrace, and I'm not got anything nice to say about him. Screw him. So, yeah. So, guys, this is me doing my review for Avengers Age of Ultron from 2015. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to tell us in the comments what you guys think of Avengers Age of Ultron, if you've seen it, what you think of it. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for videos coming in the future. If you would like to be a member, you can respond using a piece of or a subscription, and Avengers Assemble.